Come on, come on. What'd you say, Diddy? You want a piece of Zeus? Come on, man. Let's go. We gonna make it happen. Hey, yo.
In the black form, and guess who the girl is? Natalie Nunn, the one that's running with you. And guess why y'all can't sue? And guess why y'all can't say defamation of character? Because it's true.
See, that's why Diddy jacked your up that day. When we was at the party, he grabbed let me buy.
Stop everything. Because 50 Cent just threw a verbal grenade into the internet and walked away smiling. One sentence, one comparison, and suddenly timelines are on fire. The next Diddy, yeah, that Diddy, and the target. The Zeus Network CEO, no warning, no filter, no mercy. This didn't spark a debate, triggered an explosion. This wasn't a slick interview, quote, or a carefully worded statement. This was classic 50, direct, petty, calculated, and perfectly timed to make the internet lose its collective mind. The moment those words hit, it was over. Memes spawned like gremlins after midnight. Think pieces started loading before people even finished reading the headline. This made the Kardashians look like they're arguing over brunch reservations. Because when 50 Cent speaks, nobody hears opinion, they hear accusation. And when you attach the phrase "next Diddy" to anyone in 2025, that's not commentary, that's a cultural nuke. The silence afterward, even louder. No clarification, no backtracking. Just the internet spiraling, dissecting motives, history, beef, power, K-noise, and secrets like it just unlocked a forbidden folder. This wasn't just shade. This wasn't just trolling. This felt like something slipped. Something leaked, and once 50 opens his mouth, history says one thing, he's never joking. The moment the words left 50 Cent's mouth, the internet did what it always does when chaos gets an invitation. It sprinted. No warm-up. No stretching. Straight into full meltdown mode. Because comparing anyone to the next Diddy in this climate isn't commentary. It's a match tossed into a fireworks factory. This wasn't buried in a long interview or softened with context. It landed raw, sharp, and unapologetic. One sentence that felt like it skipped the legal department and went straight to the group chat. And just like that, the Zeus Network CEO's name was glued to a comparison nobody wants, needs, or survives quietly to understand why this hit like a sledgehammer. You've got to understand 50 Cent. This is not a man who speaks accidentally. He doesn't misspeak, he calculates, he posts, he watches the reaction, and then he doubles down with a smile like he just flipped the chessboard on purpose. So when 50 says something like this, people don't ask, what does he mean? They ask, what does he know? Because history taught the internet a painful lesson. When 50 clowns someone publicly, there's usually smoke somewhere nearby. The background matters. Zeus Network isn't some quiet, low-key operation. It's loud, flashy, controversial by design. A platform built on chaos, viral moments, and reality TV energy turned up to uncomfortable levels. Zeus thrives on mess the way reality TV thrives on table flips. And that reputation has already had critics side-eyeing. The business model long before 50 ever entered the chat, so when he dropped that comparison, it didn't come out of a vacuum. It landed on top of existing skepticism, rumors, and unease people were already whispering about. That's why it spread so fast. The internet didn't need convincing, it just needed a headline. The first reactions were pure disbelief. People reread the quote like it might change the second time. Others laughed nervously, like when a joke hits too close to home. And then the think pieces started forming in real time. No drafts, no edits. Just raw opinion flying straight into the algorithm. Memes followed immediately. Because when the internet doesn't know what to do with tension, it laughs. Screenshots of 50 with captions like he said what he said. Reaction videos with faces frozen in shock. Jokes about Zeus needing a PR team on speed dial. Humor became the pressure valve, but the pressure kept climbing anyway. The sarcasm online was vicious. People joked that 50 woke up and chose violence like it was on his calendar. Others said this was less opinion and more warning label. And a lot of folks weren't laughing at all. They were uncomfortable because the implications were heavy, even if nothing was proven. And that's where things got tricky. Because 50 didn't accuse anyone of a specific act. He didn't present evidence. He didn't outline details. He dropped a comparison and let the internet do the rest. And the internet. It does not handle ambiguity responsibly. Suddenly, people started digging. Old interviews, past controversies, clips taken out of context, anything that could be retrofitted into a narrative. The algorithm rewarded suspicion, not restraint. And every repost made the comparison feel more real, even if it was still just a sentence. Silence from Zeus didn't help. No immediate response. No denial, no clarification. And on social media, silence doesn't mean commit, means vulnerability. It leaves space. And space online gets filled aggressively. Fans and critics split instantly. Some said 50 was trolling, doing what he does best, stirring the pot for laughs and attention. Others argued he wouldn't play with a comparison like that unless he was hinting at something deeper. Neutral takes got buried. Extremes thrived. Industry insiders stayed quiet, which only made the speculation louder. When people with platforms don't comment, the internet assumes they're choosing sides, or protecting themselves, or waiting for the fallout to settle before making their move. The timing made it worse. With public trust and entertainment power structures already shaken, people were primed to believe the worst. The comparison didn't feel random, it felt strategic. And strategic chaos spreads faster than accidental mess. This is where the tone shifted from shock to suspicion. The jokes slowed down. The commentary sharpened. People stopped laughing and started asking uncomfortable questions they had no authority to answer. And yet, the story kept growing. Blogs rushed to post first, not accurate. Headlines screamed like sirens. Words like slams, calls out, and exposes flooded timelines, even though nothing had actually been exposed. The language did the work. The truth became secondary. Through it all, 50 Cent stayed quiet. No follow-up. No explanation. No wink. And that restraint was almost scarier than if he'd kept talking. Because when 50 keeps quiet after lighting a fire, it usually means he's watching to see who panics. The Zeus CEO. Suddenly, at the center of a storm he didn't schedule, became a trending topic by association. Public perception began shifting in real time. Not because of facts, but because of a phrase repeated enough times to feel familiar. That's the dangerous power of a viral comparison. It doesn't need proof to stick. It just needs repetition. And by the end of that first wave, one thing was undeniable. This wasn't just another celebrity beef headline. This felt bigger, heavier, like the opening scene of a story that doesn't resolve quickly or cleanly, because once a name, it's tied to a comparison like that. The internet never fully unties it, and this was only the beginning of the noise. The moment the comparison refused to die. The situation mutated. Fast, this is where it stopped being a headline and turned into a full-blown spectacle. Because once the internet realizes a story has legs, it doesn't walk, it sprints, trips, and drags everyone nearby with it. Memes went from playful to unhinged. Screenshots of 50 Cent's smiling god slapped with captions like he knows something, and this ain't a joke. It's a trailer. People weren't even pretending anymore. The humor turned sharp, almost nervous. Like laughing in a dark hallway because silence feels worse. Celebrity reactions started bubbling up. And of course, nobody said names. They never do. Instead, it was vague posts, cryptic captions, and suspicious timing. Quotes about power corrupting, about unchecked influence, about history repeating itself, and the internet acting like it cracked the Da Vinci Code, connected every single dot, whether it belonged or not. Then came the pop culture comparisons, and they were outrageous. People said this was the hip-hop version of dropping a nuclear teaser with no movie attached. Others joked it felt like when a Netflix documentary starts with ominous music before telling you who's about to get cooked. Someone even said this made Succession look like a corporate training video. Public outrage didn't arrive screaming. It crept in, slow, uncomfortable, and sticky. People began asking why 50 would even say something like that. Why this comparison? Why now? And those questions carried more weight than jokes ever could. Defenders of Zeus pushed back hard. They called it reckless, irresponsible. Silence, at this stage, felt like standing still while a narrative bulldozer rolled forward. Industry watchers leaned in. Not publicly, but noticeably. You could feel the shift. This wasn't just internet noise anymore. This was reputational risk being debated in real time. And risk makes people nervous in rooms where money talks. The internet also started questioning 50's motive. Some said this was classic 50 trolling, poking bears, enjoying the chaos from a distance. Others suspected strategy, a warning, or even a distraction from something else entirely. With 50, every possibility feels plausible, and that's part of the problem. The conversation got darker. Less jokes. More speculation. People stopped asking, "Is this true?" and started asking, "What if it is?" And that's when damage happens, long before facts ever show up. By now, the comparison had taken on a life of its own. It wasn't about what 50 said anymore. It was about what everyone else was saying because of it. The echo chamber grew louder, and nuance got drowned out. This wasn't just trending. It was spiraling, and everyone involved, whether they spoke or not, was getting pulled. Deeper into it, when the noise finally started to thin, the consequences didn't disappear. They settled in, heavy, awkward, permanent, because moments like this don't end with a punchline. They end with people quietly recalculating how close they want to stand to the blast radius. 50 Cent walked away untouched, as expected. That's the thing about lighting fires. When you've already survived worse ones, you don't get burned the same way. To his supporters, this moment reinforced his reputation as the industry's most dangerous truth-teller. To his critics, it confirmed he's reckless with comparisons that can't be taken back. Either way, his power stayed intact. The internet argued, but nobody ignored him. The Zeus CEO, on the other hand, didn't have that luxury. Once your name gets welded to a phrase like the next Diddy, the explanation phase is already too late, even if nothing is proven, even if nothing exists. Perception doesn't wait for court documents. It moves faster than facts and sticks longer than denials. Public perception shifted in real time, not violently, but noticeably. The tone around Zeus changed. Conversations that were once framed as messy entertainment started sounding like questionable influence. Viewers didn't suddenly stop watching, but they started watching differently. With suspicion, with side eyes, with that uncomfortable pause before hitting play. That's how damage actually happens. Not in explosions, but in hesitation. Industry relationships felt the ripple too. Not publicly, but behind closed doors, risk gets discussed. Comparisons like the 150 made don't need to be true to be inconvenient. They just need to exist. And once they exist, they sit in rooms like an uninvited guest nobody wants to address directly. The silence from Zeus became a double-edged sword. Speak, and you risk amplifying the comparison. Stay quiet, and the internet fills the gaps with its worst assumptions. There's no clean move once a narrative this heavy starts rolling. Fans split into camps that stopped listening to each other. Some insisted this was all exaggerated, a classic case of 50 being 50. Others argued that no one makes a comparison like that casually, especially not someone with his track record. Neutral voices got drowned out. Outrage and defense made better content, and that's the real problem. The algorithm doesn't reward accuracy. It rewards intensity. And intensity doesn't care who gets hurt as long as engagement stays high. The comparison became shorthand. People stopped explaining it. They just referenced it. After that 50 comment, since the next Diddy thing, it embedded itself into the conversation like a permanent footnote that nobody could erase. That's when the story officially crossed the point of no return, because even if nothing else ever comes out, the association now exists, forever searchable, forever screenshot, forever ready to be reposted the next time. Zeus trends for anything remotely controversial. This moment also reignited a larger conversation the industry keeps trying to dodge. Power, control, exploitation. Who gets protected? Who gets questioned? And who gets taken down based on implication alone? The comparison didn't just target one person, it poked the entire system, and systems don't like being poked. The internet eventually moved on, like it always does. Another scandal, another villain, another name to drag. But this story didn't disappear. It archived itself, waiting for the next moment it could resurface and feel relevant again. Because unresolved narratives don't end. They hibernate. What made this situation especially dangerous was its simplicity. No evidence, no receipts, just a sentence. And that sentence did more damage than a 1,000-word expose ever could. That's the power of who says something, not just what they say. 50 didn't have to explain. The internet did the work for him, filled in blanks, drew conclusions, rewrote backstories. And once that machine starts, it doesn't shut off on command. For Zeus, this became a permanent test of legitimacy. Not because of actions proven, but because of optics introduced. And optics are brutal. They don't care about fairness. They care about feeling. And the feeling this left behind was discomfort, not outrage, not clarity. Just a low-level unease that lingers longer than headlines ever do. That's the aftermath. Nobody tweets about no final statement, no resolution, just a comparison hanging in the air like smoke, and everyone pretending it doesn't. Smell, because in the entertainment industry, the most dangerous accusations aren't always spoken loudly. Sometimes they're dropped casually and never picked back up. All right, before you click off like none of this just scrambled your timeline, let's get honest. You didn't watch this for peace. You watched it because chaos called your name and answered. And if one sentence from 50 Cent can shake an entire industry, you already know this story isn't done breathing. So do what's required. Smash that like button like it just compared you to something you didn't ask for. Hit subscribe like messy headlines pay rent around here. And turn on notifications, because when the internet decides to self-destruct, it never sends a calendar invite. Now I need you in the comments. No lurking. No, I'll just read. Drop your take. Was this classic 50 trolling the world for sport? Or was that sentence a warning shot dressed up as a joke? Did he say too much? Or not enough? And be real, if anyone else had said it, would it have hit the same? This channel lives where silence gets suspicious, comparisons get dangerous, and one viral sentence can change how an entire brand is viewed overnight. We don't whisper the drama. We don't sugarcoat the implications. And we definitely don't pretend the internet forgets. Scandals don't slow down. Here, they reload. Every week. Sometimes every day. And if you blink, you miss the moment that turns into a permanent footnote in hip-hop history. So stay locked in. Stay curious. Stay just uncomfortable enough to keep watching. Because today, it was a comparison. Tomorrow, it might be receipts. Next week, it's a fallout nobody can clean up, and when it happens, you'll want to hear it from the place that doesn't flinch. This is Rap Shocker, where one sentence can end careers. Silence is louder than denial, and the internet never lets go. Denial, and the internet never lets go.